I think the outlook is a challenging one. We have a huge demographic force of people getting older. We have longevity, that is meaning when they get older, they stay older and they live older longer. We have companies and employers and governments transitioning the challenge or the burden of this from themselves to the individual. So we have a lot of things coming together, not only the fact that interest rates are low and therefore investment rates are more modest. So there's a lot of work to do in terms of assuring people are actually ready for retirement. So this is a big macro challenge, and it's not unique to any single country. It's actually a global phenomenon. The positive side of this is I think our industry can have a very significant impact and contribution to successful outcomes. So if you think about managing risks, this is what is our mission. I'd like to say that what we can do is assume risks by virtue of our ability to manage with the law of large numbers that are really difficult for an individual with a sample size of 1. Meaning none of us know the outcomes and the prospects for any of us individually. But we as an insurance company and the insurance industry can work and provide solutions that help everyone manage a risk that's very difficult to manage on their own. And the risk that's so relevant today is not just the mortality risk that's historically been the case, but the longevity risk, the risk of people living longer than they anticipate, outliving their savings, and therefore compromising their quality of life or impacting the quality of life of others around them. Well, I think this requires collaboration and cooperation between the industry, between the governments, between employers, in ways that have only just really begun. You know, because we had a big phase of this where it was a transition from of responsibility from the employers to the individual and from governments to the individual. Now I think people come to appreciate that that pendulum has swung in a way that now requires there to be more engagement by all parties in this to actually create positive outcomes and social stability and preservation of quality of life. And so all of us need to be involved in this to help bring about positive outcomes. The exciting thing about this to me is that this actually provides the opportunity for even greater relevance for our industry than it's had in the past. Because at this point, it's not just about accumulating savings for retirement, it's also ultimately about converting savings into predictable and lifetime income streams. And so while the financial services industry in general has been active in the accumulation phase, and we have been as well, those who are best suited to creating lifetime income solutions are those that are in our industry in particular. So what this means to me is that this is going to actually be an opportunity for our industry to assert ourselves and being part of an even bigger part of the solution in the future than it has been in the past. Well, I'm very optimistic about the prospects for having an impact. And let's face it, I mean, the whole point of our industry is to have a material impact on the quality of life of individuals. And it'll continue to include the life insurance aspect of things, but it's increasingly relevant in the longevity aspect in creating incomes for streams for life and assuring that people can preserve their quality of life in their retirement years. We are so ideally suited to this that it's up to us to figure out the most effective ways of doing it. And it's not just continuing to do the things we've done. It's finding new and efficient ways, it's utilizing technology, it's utilizing the work site to complement some of the products and distribution methods of the past, but to make it more pervasive, to make it more simple, to make it more comprehensible, and to make it more applicable to a much broader swath of the population than historically has been the case. So when I look at the potential for what our industry can do, recognizing that all the promises we keep have to be supported by strong brands and unquestioned financial strength, to me this is absolutely an area that should be our place to shine. Let's talk about how this has changed the relationship between employers and employees. I think there's a phase in here, sort of multidimensional, where ultimately the burdens have shifted increasingly from the employer to the employee. I think we're now entering into a different phase where these employers, while not seeking to reverse those patterns, are increasingly concerned about whether or not their employees are fully prepared for their retirement years and whether they will have achieved sufficient financial strength and stability to preserve their quality of life. We're noticing that employers in the States are getting far more interested in financial literacy and employee engagement so that they're more proactively involved in figuring out how their employees make good and well-informed decisions. To me, this is an important trend, and it also suggests that those same employers will be increasingly interested in collaborating in areas of legislation to enhance the prospects for the employees. Examples of this would be new features we've seen in the last few years in 401k plans, where there's more auto-enrollment and auto-escalation and auto-rebalancing and these types of dimensions. I think we're going to see a lot more of that because I think the recognition is that if we just do a linear extrapolation of past practices, we're going to come up far short from what's necessary to preserve the quality of life that people have come to expect during their retirement years. I think what's the most intriguing aspect of that is not so much in making the products more complex. In fact, I think we need to go the other direction and simplify them, but finding more efficient ways to avail our products to a wider audience. Recognizing that many parts of the marketplace may not have a classical financial advisor because they don't have the wealth levels that necessarily make that possible. But these people, too, are also going to need to prepare for retirement. So finding cost-efficient ways of accessing people and providing them information that enables them to make intelligent decisions, to me, is part of the opportunity that I see for our industry as we look forward. Part of that may be across the kitchen table, but I think increasingly that will also involve the workplace. The workplace not meaning the employer will own the issue, but the employer will facilitate the opportunity for people to be well empowered and well informed to make decisions to enhance their retirement prospects.